Eden is in Hell by Natsuki. Death. This is nothing like the modern world. Man versus man, and the strongest may survive, are all that count here. Your friendships will burn here. Your lovers will murder you here. Let your violent minds arise from the depths of that small, hellish place in your heart you think is corrupted and disturbed. It will be the only way to live another day. Prologue. The end to now. Sometime after October 4th, morning time, in the jungle of saber-toothed tigers, lost time, lost somewhere. Months, maybe weeks, or even just days have passed since the sky turned a vengeful red and my body tumbled down to the earth from the skies I flew over, awaiting to arrive back in Japan, trying to prepare for the last challenge of my life. Everyone I knew, trusted, or felt anything other than nothing, were all gone now. No one to turn to, no one in sight. No one was here with me anymore. I only have my bat and bags to carry me onward. Back to Japan to finally lay to rest my broken body, to finally be at peace. Through the bizarre terrain of the grasslands, mountains, oceans, and lakes at every turn of walking for miles, I have no idea which way the wind blows or what monstrous beast next will stalk me as its prey. What is this place? This devilish harem of thorns and needles, pulling centuries-old creatures back from the grave, enlisting their help to seek out anything from the crash, killing whatever it may be without cause to charge? This is nothing like the modern world. Man versus man, and the strongest may survive are all that count here. Your friendships will burn here. Your lovers will murder you in your sleep here. Your enemy will become your ally, and no one here is pure and trustworthy anymore. Let your violent mind arise from the depths of that small, hellish place in your heart you think is corrupted and disturbed. It will be the only way to live another day. Death. Demise of all living beings. Once gone, all that will remain is the dilapidated ruins of all those poor souls with hope of escaping and with what courage left in them to seek salvation off these forgotten relics of an ancient era so long had been dead to the modern world. Death is all around me now. Death is here and will never leave my side, even when the shinigamis come for my useless body. Blood. It runs out, spilling forth a pool of crimson, entrapping everyone I find. They too are taken away in a fit of terrified screams and ripped open for everything to fall out in a disturbing Picasso art piece as well. Flesh raw and splattered about the jungle floor glow like ghostly white stones. Bones turn to ash and fly off into the sea-scented breeze. Guts spew out, tearing and vomiting from the perishing bodies still suffering away, even while they too were being killed by whatever these creatures are on the satanic island. Salvation. Hope to breathe pure air long since denied for and given up on. Now gone, all that is left are the scattered pieces of my resolve to never fear death's arrival, now faded in my dying. Salvation is lost to me now. Angels and gods, will you find me? bring me to the light before my flickering candle, like life is blown out in one foul and gruesome strike? Hell began as the plane came crashing down to the land that would soon enough purge the living of anything sane. Everything's shattered, falling into a black madness. No one else is here to comfort me. They've all been dead for so long now. I miss them a lot. Now that I think about it, I want to go back to then. Even if I have to relive the many pains I saw you all had to take. Your battered arms, locked in place by the chains, and the wounds upon your backs were finally treated with that cold towel of medicines from the back alley doctors. Not long after that would be the famous bucket of dry ice coming into the room and to be put into your anguished-looking faces. And as you told me, your visions would dance in the fine lines of passing out and dying right then and there. Why didn't you just let go then? Let your body at last succumb to the temptation of being free of your damaged body and just fade from the repulsion we all had to see. But you alone took that pain straight into your veins, knowing one day it would be ended and your resolve being beaten to nothing and your eyes hollowed out with no light for making it back into your soul. Why? When your life could have been so great, so fulfilling to society, so warm and inviting to be even at a distance to it. You could have had days just spent in bed, wrapped around loved ones, smothered with care and adoration. Is there anything better after coming out of the lives you fell into for so long? Lives you've spent having to scrub days worth of blood off your teeth, knuckles, and soul. Where the highlight of your life was making it past another birthday and moving up to another ladder of ranks before you might be dead on a train or like with bullets lodged in your forehead with a blank expression slapped upon your face. Why even stay and fight it? Just so the rest can move on. Just move on, stepping right over top your bodies once you have all had done your jobs. No one else would do it, so why would you all do that just to die horribly in the end? Was there a dream at stake? Was there a future you thought would come true once they fell? Why become the sacrifice to these ungrateful people? Why? Why? It doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense at all. The gang will be reassembling soon. Guns will be drawn and the tricks will start up in a flash. Angry, bitter-acting people are coming together, swarming around like a violent storm cloud, threatening to cause a hurricane of graves to rise up again. Just like when you all were here. What now? Can I break from the code? The system I've always lived in? The very people who took me in from the shackles of decomposing death and run from them? I don't know any other way to live. I once yearned for the life the watchmen stood upon as they called down the laws on us underlings. Maybe this is a phase. A silly, childlike fantasy I'm making up my head to cope with my hollow-filled past. Maybe it's just a phase for me. Still maybe or not, I can feel the churning of my gut, pushing and shoving for my heart to move, run, anything to get out before it takes me to. Before I'm put in the ground, crawling my way out of a hopeless situation, perishing from life just like the filthy society humans call upon to those kind of people. They won't even look upon us to disgrace or blame, just leave us there to die, alone in the darkness. Is that awaiting me? Anguished looking faces, curled back lips with my teeth chipped and later on to be pulled out or wedged further back into my gums just so the slithers can hear my shrieks of mercy when I finally break. Knowing death is a gift, but they'll dangle it in front of you for weeks, till even letting you close to that present of the gods and then pull it right back into the darkness so you can break apart all over again. For their fun will never be done till a body is limp. No hands to move with and no legs to shake, especially when they want you to stop moving when the needles and acid come out to play. Ears pulled out like an abnormal freak and drilled through to hold up the beaded aqua and white-colored jewelry they hang from with your carcass once they're all done with having their fun. Eyes are left alone. No one places a single thing on them. Not even the slithers put their tongues or nails on the eyes. It may as well be the one thing left to the body, piercing wide orbs, bugged out like a fish, glossed over with the last remaining tears that poor body could shed before the clamps went over their temples and the saw blades whirled to life, cutting a bloodless slash into the person's head. They were dead even before the saw was brought into the enclosed slaughterhouse, just outside of the city regions of Honshu. Am I going to die? October 4th, 11:32 a.m. International Airport of Guam, Port 22. Summer winds and summer chills. Sitting here, 1,616 miles away from the cunning blades of the watchmen, slitherers, and the bodies piling up with the resurrection of the blessing. I am the closest thing to temporarily safe from anything dealing with the organization. Nothing at this moment could be worse than returning to there. I've run away from them, just as you all had made sure of with your own lives. Once you started the gang wars between the old enemies of the organization and mischief-making undergrounder gangs, Thoizai and Hedgethog, you fuel the bloodshed and kill off the blessing, even if it's just for a while, as I took flight out of the country and ended up in Guam for only a short amount of time. I still take great appreciation what all of you've done for me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the chances to live. I might have truly ended up in the hands of Shuji Yamanashi. Thank you. Thank you for saving my wreckage of a soul. Sakurai-sama, Bo-chan, Asuka-kun, Kana-san, Mimi-chan, and you, Kagemushu Dono. Every last one of you have become a bright, blooming star amongst the many millions of small stars, while all of you shine ever so much more over those souls lost in the wreckage of no heaven. I speak up to the night skies each night. I am blessed with serene silence and no blood pooling under my feet. You all have saved this body that will one day too fall apart, but may be able to smile at death's greeting when it comes time. Not too soon after this fairy tale-like escape must come to a close, and the reality of my death coming ever so close again, I must depart from Guam and face the blessing one more time, this time in my own grave. Farewell days of sunlight warming my skin to a pinkish tint, to the salt-scented winds rudely dancing under my dresses, to the bitter drinks, minty ice cream cones, and mango-flavored meat I gorged upon almost with tears in my eyes at the heaven-sent gifts of not being starved during the fast-paced escape. Farewell to a life I could once only dream about. Farewell, and may I be born again to see such simple joys, without the fire raging beneath my every step, and take comfort in a life I could be around you all again. Farewell, my sweet, short-lived fantasy. I will miss you. I will cry when it's gone, but I shall see you again, my life of joys. Attention all passengers! Flight 2307 to Japan. Attention! We'll be leaving in 5 minutes. Attention! A cheerful flight attendant spoke into the microphone. Her eyes squinted, apparently trying to read off of a piece of paper held in her other hand. But as she spoke, her hands would jitter, causing her to squint even more. I guess this would be her first time working the mic, as it looked like from my seat nearest the massive glass windows facing out the incoming and leaving planes. Her voice still made it through, delivering the intended message, calling myself and a few other passengers to hurry on board to the plane, with little more effort than just stroll on in. Only the first-class cabinet had that privilege. As it appeared before, on the first-class passengers was 2 girls, maybe around 10 years old, walking side by side, one of them with raven-colored hair and a frilly pink dress, the other with blonde hair and a simple white tank shirt and a pink skirt, were escorted onto the plane surrounded with a pack of shades-wearing bodyguards, all keeping an eye on the area they were walking into. Probably some big shot's daughters or Yakuza family members. Even they had it better than the Blessing's newest recruits, who start at 80 years old. Soon after them was a whole army of school uniform-clad kids barging onto the flight. Some of the students stood out as high schoolers with their endowments. Some of them acted like elementary students, with their voices boasting loudly over one another as they talked about their vacation and who did what with who. Others moved along with utter and absolute silence, like they were so unlucky to happen to be stuck with children like them. 2 teachers followed along the river of students. A rough around the edges looking man with his clothes wrinkled and his eyes in the permanent glare to the kids acting all kinds of crazy. By him, with a short black-haired woman with small glasses smiling and gesturing about with her hands. She must be really happy with the trip. Maybe in another life I could be a teacher as well, as long as I could look like her right now, bubbling with life, surrounded by my students who appreciated my dedicated work to them. I step away from the chair, aching at the unforgiving cushion they barely put in these airport chairs, and make my way over to the tunnel, funneling us into the plane. I take a hold of my once clean rucksack and throw both straps over my left shoulder and pick up my pace, making it back to the small line of stragglers, like myself, onto the flight. My goggles fog for a moment, and I adjust the clamps on them, placing them back over my eyes. The same attendant speaking on the microphone before stands in place, scanning the tickets, giving everyone passing through a heartfelt smile. I mentally cringe, wanting to grip my heart at such a sweet gesture. What a beautiful person she is to complete strangers. The line passes quicker than I anticipated, so I end up patting down my pants, looking for my ticket in one of the pockets. As I stand before the beautiful woman, smiling gracefully at me. "Hello. Thank you for flying with North Air. How was your trip, miss?" Her English was clear and precise, without the stuttering or grammar faults, with such a care in her voice. I fumble out the ticket, finding it was in my upper left pocket, along with my 5 pieces of guava gum and that stolen jade carved statue in the shape of the Buddha idol. Yeah, it was pulchritudinous. Ah, I stutter out, trying to find polite words to answer a simple question, rather than using my broken slang words I was so used to saying to the watchman. Before I could bow and head into the metal funneling throat connecting me to the plane, a hard jab plowed into my side, knocking me over to the ground, a small weight collapsing on top of my side. "Oi, kid, what are you doing running?" A gruff voice shouted down at me and whatever it was that fell over top. Footsteps stomped over and grumbled a menacingly strong line of curses before casting a large shadow over my sight. A cop, heavily breathing and sweating out like a pig, glared down, though he had to tilt backwards to look over his robust midsection on the ground. I kind of wanted to smile at the officer's silly expression, veins popping and sweat dribbling down his lips. He was incredibly out of shape to be running after someone with such speed. "Kids these days, no respect," the cop said again, still huffing and his belly jiggling with each hard breath, before reaching out his stubby fingers and lifted up a boy in a middle school uniform. So that is who hit me. Maybe he's on the plane as well. I might thank him later for stopping myself from making a complete blunder with a beautiful woman. "Are you alright, miss? And sir?" Again, the woman comes to face me, and I feel the heart of mine forget to beat. It seems as well the boy's heart stopped for a moment when he caught a glance at the attendant. Such a pretty woman to anyone's standards. "Oi, let me go, you old man. Better get on the plane." The spiky-haired boy struggled against the fat arms of the officer. He really wasn't making his situation any better by doing that. The attendant looked over with a concerned expression and chewed at her lip, worrying over the boy as it appeared to look like. Officer, please let him, The woman stood quietly begging, with the policeman to let the boy, who continued to struggle with the officer. But with her meek voice, and the officer grumbled some more before landing his angry dark eyes on the attendant. "Huh? He's been running since the food court on downstairs. I ain't letting him go anytime soon till we get him questioned. Got a problem with that, honey cakes?" The woman shrinks slightly at the cop's sick, but definitely threatening words, and quiver at his sexual comment to her. Of course she is, well, very endowed, but that gives no man or woman the right to say such disgusting things to an angelic female. So I step up, brush off the bits of dust clinging to my white jeans. Regrettably, a palm-sized stain of neon blue is left on the left hip pocket. Push up my goggles, let them rest on my forehead, and step towards him and the boy, who now notice my standing presence. Letting the cop be the only one of the small gathering of flight workers for this plane ride to get a full view of my eyes. I grip onto his sweaty uniform, pressing my face to about a hair's distance away from his kimchi-reeked breath. To avoid any odd and awkward situations, I turn the cop's face to the left, letting me stand closer, almost intimately to the cop, but not smothering the guy into my stomach or chest, depending if he was looking up at the moment I stepped up to them. Listen, faggot guts. I'd enough of you. The harassment to the elegant flight attendant, and that you're getting worked up over this guy's tardiness to the flight. We gotta go now, so get off him and go back to sucking on those egg rolls downstairs. Officer. Push off the cop, pulling back down my goggles before the middle schooler could stare up at me. The cop loosened his grip at that moment, and a look of humiliation replaced that pudgy, sweat-covered rage he wore so well. You little bitch. Hissing the words out, he turned back to the rage-filled expression, but nothing was going to be done to me, as I already took my place back at the ticket scanner, still reading my ticket over and over again. The attendant noticed this and hurried back over to me and to split the ticket, giving me back the large half before I moved on to the tunnel. Oi, running dude. Better hurry up. Plane's looking to leave here sooner than later. I waved back, talking loudly enough for even the seething cop to hear me, as I stuffed the ticket into the stained pocket and disappeared into the long cage mouth to the plane. One more farewell for this short-lived life. Maybe in my next go-around, I'll have a whole lot of fated collisions. Just maybe. Wait up, don't leave me. Look back as I hand off my ticket to another flight attendant with red hair to help me find my seat in the crowded plane space. People squeezing by one another, babies crying out, and our seats are being kicked around by troll-like kids. This is a part I wish I wasn't going to experience again. That boy stood behind me, apparently just arriving onto the plane, both his hands and his arms holding up 2 plastic bags bursting with boxed foods. Stepping on the plane as they began to set up for takeoff, the woman who was behind the guy doubled over with shallow breaths. This really must be her first day of flight work. I looked down, not sure if he was just calling out for the plane to not take off or calling to me. I shrugged when our eyes meet up and follow the red-head attendant asking me to follow him into the further part of the plane. He grabs onto my right arm, still hanging, bent numb from falling asleep. But he doesn't say anything. It's the woman who speaks first. Thank you for that, but please don't make the authorities here angry. He was thinking to ground the plane and come get you. The woman's worry over having the plane grounded showed easily through her teary-eyed expression. I know it isn't for my sake, but there's still a part of her worrying if I was going to get hauled off because some words I used to help her out as well. I smirk, but it falters after a moment before I let my lips hang in a glum state. The boy laughs and the woman looks between us, both thinking she had said something wrong. I wave my hand, dismissing her worry, even when I had no idea what was going on to make him laugh besides my glum expression. Well, if he comes onto the plane, he'll be dealing with her brother then. He air quotes the words with another laugh to it. So that's his plan. Saying I'm his sister, just being overprotective of him. Clever idea, and reasonable. At least, that's what he's saying. Oh, you two know? The woman starts to ask, but I wave again, cutting her question off. No, I've never seen him before, I suppose. I nod over to him, drawing her attention to him. He thought that using me as a family member would justify my actions before, so I would not need to wait here for a pair of handcuffs and that fat man's harassing words. The boy looked stunned, tilting his neck side to side with that stunned expression. Guess that wasn't his plan then. He stops rolling back his neck up and smiles, turning towards me with his left hand stretched out to me. Well, if he does come on in, just call me bro for him, alright? I'm Sengoku Akira, by the way. Take his handshake firmly. We clasp a small promise between each other this day. Even if it be my last promise ever to make with a smile. He laughs, shutting his eyes, and I widen my smile some more. I'll miss smiling the most at my death. Maybe in another life I'll smile every day. Sengoku Akira, hopefully you'll be out there in your life, and even in the distant future, smiling bright just as you do now. Oh, I'm sorry. We both turn, bewildered at the woman and her deep apologizing bow. Letting our hands slip away, she raises back up, wiping a last bit of tears from her eyes. If you two need anything on the flight, please just ask for me, or Amori Kanako. It's nice to see familiar faces even on short flights like this. She sweetly smiles again, pulls on my heart, but I roll my neck slowly, repressing the urge to cringe at her angelic face. Right, or Amori-san. I'll see to it if I find myself in need or want during this flight. I'll leave you two to your work now. Bye now. I turn back, realizing then the redhead had left to help an elderly woman to her seat. I sigh, staring down at my ticket. The boy steps to the side of me, looking down at my ticket as well. You sitting towards the back? I'm heading that way as well. One-san. He coos the words with a ridiculous look. I laugh, trying to move my knees as well. He laughs as well, and from there it stays a calm and quiet walk to the back. Whoa, you gotta keep going back from here? Jeez, how many seats does this plane even have? Sengoku-san exasperates before dropping his food bags on his seat. The seats among whom were surrounded by many other middle school wearing boys, all shouting about and beating on one another. So this is how middle school boys act on school trips. Maybe I'll wish to be a boy in my next life. It seemed like so much fun. Yeah, I picked up these tickets right at the airport today, so it's expected to be bad in comparison to everyone else's seats. I shrug again, smiling weakly this time, but still try to be happy, as Sengoku-san had been at our handshake. Even for one last day, I could be happy at least. Oi, 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 Akira! Who's this chick with ya? You know how Reno's gonna feel about you flirting with older women now? Two guys, shaven head with a terrible sunburn slings over his arms onto Sengoku-san, and a guy with a shark fin hairstyle laughed, calling out to Sengoku-san. Who was Reno? His girlfriend? I don't want him to get in trouble now. Sengoku-san and I collided at the gates. I'm hoping I haven't done anything to anger whoever is Reno, I say as I intertwine my fingers. Sengoku-san? Both the boys' eyes, Sengoku with an alarming look, with their mouths gaped open. Chew at my mouth, holding in the laughter bubbling my throat. Ah, Sengoku flusters, turning side to side, looking for a word to say as the boys smile oddly at him, starting to laugh with their body. Maybe the san isn't, what's the word? Correct? No, maybe it is. It's not appropriate for someone in middle school. Still, what do I use then? Kagemushin Dano always said you must use respectful terms for people. Maybe I I lose my thought as Sengoku speaks up, waving a hand in my face. I clench, digging my toes roughly into the bottoms of my boots. Yes, I nod and he takes his hand back. Both the guys have subsided with their laughter, staring between him and I. What was your name? Sorry, I didn't ask at the front. He smiles like before, with a handshake ready for me to take. I suck at my lip, wondering if I should even give my name. Just another promise, a meeting that is never again. But maybe that's the point. I go my way, and he will go his. A fleeting acquaintance on both parts. Nothing more, nothing less. I reach out my hand, taking in his, with this last shake of acknowledgement to each other. My name is Inakono Saka. I smirk a little, thinking of a brilliantly teasing thought that just came to mind. If you'd like, for the rest of the flight, just call me One-chan. I pull my hand away as Sengoku's face turns a blushing red, and his friends turn a shocking eye yet again at him, and there I make my exit, forever closing my joyous month of life with a smile. And now 3 hours till it fades into a black abyss I can fall into without my early hesitation. Thank you, everyone up there, for these small and precious moments. Thank you. End of prologue. The end to now. Next, Chapter 1. Set flight to hell.